We're in the Nazi killing business, and business is a booming. What's going on, friends? Logan Myers here for Cinephellas.com. Tonight I'm going to be talking about the brand new show that just premiered on Amazon Prime Video, Hunters. So Hunters is created by David Wheel. He wrote a few episodes in this season. The show is executive produced by Jordan Peele. You guys know how big of fans we are of Jordan Peele. I even like the Twilight Zone show he did for CBS All Access. A lot of people shit on that show, but I had a good time with it. Love his movies. Really excited for the new Candyman coming out here soon. We just got the first trailer for that. So to set up the show, 1977, New York City. Definitely has that cool 1970s vibe to it, you know, much like a Quentin Tarantino film. Or like the newer Joker movie. It just had that cool, really darker tone about it, really great music in this show, setting up this atmosphere. It's a really cool setup of these Nazi hunters in 1977 New York City. They're basically tracking down, hunting, and killing the higher Nazi officials that are hiding out in the U.S., you know, working normal jobs, like a doctor, lawyer, whatever, hunting them down one by one. And it sets up the character of Jonah, played by Logan Lerman. Love this dude, but really great character in this show. We kind of see where he's at as being an angsty teenager. He lost his grandparents. He has a lot of anger on him coming across this group of Nazi hunters. And Myers' character, played by Al Pacino, hoo-ah! And he starts working with them, and they get into the Nazi killing business. Pretty cool setup, cool premise. It had a very comic book tone to it early on. Cinematography was really great in the first two episodes. Overall tone, everything was really set up perfectly, I thought, tracking them down, how they find these people, which is really fantastic and interesting. They have like a cool library of like information upon information of tracking down these people from the war. And a really great setup. I thought the first two episodes were really top-notch, movie quality, well done. The first episode's like an hour and a half, and then it just kind of goes downhill like the middle part of the season, which was really disappointing, with different directors, writers writing different episodes. We saw that with The Mandalorian, which I reviewed all the episodes of the first season. Different directors, writers. It just doesn't feel as cohesive, and it feels like a completely different story, and the narrative it's all over the place, different stories kind of going back and forth. And they really lost me in the middle part of this season. It took me a few days to make it through an episode because I kept falling asleep, because it was extremely boring, slow burn. There was like no character development and really anything interesting about a lot of these characters that it really kept my interest, which is sad to say. And they introduced a character, Travis, which is probably one of the best villains of 2020, one of the best parts of the show. Something very sinister and off about this guy. He's obviously a Nazi. They're trying to track him down. Really sets up some great scenes with him and Logan Lerman's character later on in the season. But he is a really brutal, violent man. And I thought Greg Austin did a fantastic job playing Travis. One of my favorite villains of this year thus far, only a few months in, but he was one of the best parts of the show. Something unsettling off about this guy, and he is violent and will kill anybody, as we see throughout the show. And this one particular scene that really has to do with the rest of the season, having to do with this scene at a comic book store, this young teenager, and it not ending well for that person. So it really sets up that character, and the hunters really trying to track down Travis and kill him once and for all. Other characters they introduced in the hunters, this group of people. It's great seeing Ted Mosby still working, still getting a paycheck. He plays Lonnie Flash. He was there for like the comedic relief of this group of Nazi hunters, but I thought the writing of his character was a bit silly at times, a bit over the top. I don't know if he was just miscast or just the way the character was written just didn't really work for me. I was hoping for like some really great scenes with him. But overall, it just kind of fell flat for me with that character. And you guys know I'm a huge horror movie fan. We have Dylan Baker in this season of Hunters. He plays Biff Simpson, really great actor. I thought he would always play like a really good Joker, just his like big smile. I thought he would be a great like older Joker. So Hollywood, if you're listening, definitely cast Dylan Baker as an older Joker. I think he would knock that character out of the park. It's just something off about this guy, and I love his creepy ass smile. And he's really great in this season. He's one of the better supporting casts as Biff Simpson, what happens to his character, and then at the very end where he goes, I thought he was really great. Other characters they set up, they have like an FBI agent that's trying to hunt down, this group of Nazi hunters, the Nazis. They're having this huge war, trying to track them down and bring it up to the rest of the Bureau and saying this is what's going on, but them not believing her. So I thought her character kind of went nowhere in the show. It didn't really work for me. Wasn't really that interesting, and I thought the writing, again, of this character wasn't that great as well. She comes across the evil, Nazi Travis. There's this really great scene between the two at the end of the season, which is probably one of her best scenes in the season as well, but it was just really scary, and what this guy's going to do to her if he ever gets out of jail or prison. We have Carol Kane in this season, which is great because I'm a huge fan of her. She's been acting for a long time. She plays Mindy Markowitz, and she's married to this guy named Murray. They're the older people that have been through hell and back. Again, a lot of the character development, the writing of those characters, you just don't really care for them that much. They're just a bit boring at times. It's just like, get to the violence and get to the ass kicking and killing of Nazis. But a lot of the writing of her character just didn't work for me. And some of the accents they had with this group of hunters just was over the top and not believable and hard to understand. I know they're trying to stay true to what happened in history and them escaping and coming to America and things like that. Just a lot of the accents didn't work for me, and unfortunately I didn't like Carol Kane's character as much either. I love her as an actress. I just thought the writing wasn't working for her and her husband. But leading up until the end of the first season of Hunters, it really took a long time to get through this. It took me almost 2 weeks to watch 10 episodes because, like I said, the first 2 episodes of the season are fantastic, especially the pilot. First hour and a half are just so good and like brings you in, draws you in, and you're excited to watch the rest. And as the episodes progress, it just kind of gets worse and worse and more of a slow burn. Too much shit going on. They're going back and forth in time to the 40s, to the 70s, and you kind of get lost in the jumble along the way. And, that really has to go with the writing and some of the direction of the show. And a lot of people being attached to this. And I just think that it was poorly executed, from the 3rd all the way to like the 8th episode. There was like 4 or 5 episodes that just didn't work for me. It took me forever to get through them. But I'm glad I didn't give up on it because the last 2 episodes definitely kick ass, and really the better episodes as well compared to the first 2. You see what happens to these characters. A really great twist having to do with one of the main characters, I'm not going to say who, something I didn't see coming, and I was really surprised by that at the very end, and how they led this up into another season possibly, where the show can go, what can happen to these characters. A lot more at stake, having to do with Jonah's character. Logan Lerman was really great in this season. He was just an angsty, angry teenager, everything he's come across with his friends, and him finding this group fighting and killing Nazis one by one. And I thought he had a really, really great arc in this season. I just really wish they would have done more with Al Pacino's character, or written the character better, because he did take the back seat in a few episodes. But at the end of the season, it's definitely surprising what happened to these characters and where it leads in the next season. After watching the first season, I felt underwhelmed. I thought 4 out of the 10 episodes are really solid, and there's 6 of them that just didn't care for and were kind of boring, and the story was all over the place and a lot of characters you don't really give a shit about. But I will say the music, the cinematography was really great in this. The costume design, recreated in the 1970s, 1977. The old jeans and like the t-shirts tucked in, and it just looked really cool. It felt like you're back in the 70s, much of how they did with Todd Phillips' Joker. It just felt like in the same realm of super dark. It had a lot of comic book aspects to it. They actually go to the comic book store. They reference comic books in this TV show, the first season, a lot as well. Teenagers comparing themselves to comic book superheroes was really cool. It had that vibe to it, very comic booky at times. But just the bad aspects is definitely the writing, the direction, having different people involved in different episodes. It just didn't feel cohesive, and the overall execution fell flat, and it just didn't work for me. And I just wish they would have stayed more consistent, maybe had the same director, same writer for every episode. With that being said, I did have a good time with Hunters Season 1. It took forever to finish it, about 2 weeks to watch 10 episodes. But I did have a good time with it. It was not great. It was not horrible. It was just good. I had problems with it. I liked some of the characters in the show, how they were written. I thought Logan Lerman was great. Al Pacino was pretty good in this show. And I thought Greg Austin playing Travis, the evil Nazi himself, the villain in this, was probably the best performance in the season. Something very off about this guy. And I can't wait to see what they do with his character in the upcoming season. What will happen to them? What will happen to the group of hunters? And will they kill all the Nazis once and for all? I'm going to give the first season of Hunters that's streaming on Amazon Prime a 3 out of 5 Logan Lerman hair pieces. So what did you guys think of the first season? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What did you guys think of that ending? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. This is Logan Myers signing out from New York City in 1977. Woo! Until the next video review. Cheers!